By the spring of 1945, the war in Europe was nearing its end. Germany was collapsing from all sides, its cities in ruins, its armies shattered. For Winston Churchill, this was a moment not only of relief, but also of reflection. Throughout the war, Churchill had been a fierce defender of the British way of war, cautious, methodical, grounded in experience earned during the bloodbaths of the First World War. He had always believed that speed, when taken too far, invited disaster. And for a long time, he viewed General George S. Patton as the embodiment of that danger. Brilliant, yes, but reckless. Yet the undeniable facts of 1944 refused to be ignored. Again and again, Patton had done what British intelligence said could not be done. He reached objectives weeks ahead of schedule. He crossed rivers before bridges were deemed ready. He kept attacking when doctrine demanded consolidation. And most importantly, he kept winning. Churchill could argue with theories. He could debate doctrine, but he could not argue with results. In private conversations after the war, Churchill began to speak differently about Patton. Gone was the dismissive tone. In its place came reluctant admiration. He acknowledged that Patton possessed something rare, an instinctive understanding of modern mechanized warfare. Where others saw risk, Patton saw opportunity. Where planners saw obstacles, he saw momentum. Churchill reportedly admitted that Patton's rapid advances had shortened the war in Europe by several months. Months that would otherwise have been paid for in blood, British blood, American blood, and civilian lives lost under bombing and occupation. This was not a small concession from a man like Churchill. To admit that a foreign general, using methods so alien to British tradition, had been right was extraordinary. But Churchill was, above all, honest about history. And history had spoken clearly. The war had changed. Patton represented a new kind of commander, one shaped by engines, radios, and relentless motion. He understood that in modern war, hesitation could be more dangerous than audacity. That speed itself was a weapon, and that confusing the enemy was often more effective than destroying him outright. Churchill would later reflect that what once looked like recklessness was, in reality, controlled aggression guided by instinct and experience. Patton did not ignore logistics. He bullied them into keeping up. He did not disregard intelligence. He outran its assumptions. In the end, even Britain's greatest wartime leader had to accept a hard truth. The future of warfare did not belong to caution alone. It belonged to those bold enough to move faster than anyone believed possible. And so, George S. Patton, the general who ignored predictions, defied expectations, and terrified both enemies and allies, earned something far more valuable than praise. He earned the respect of Winston Churchill himself, a respect forged not by words, but by results.